Hello, my name is Kit Cabell, one of the co-founders of Veracity and Defiance, and today we have a special interview here in our studio. I'm joined with my fellow co-founder, Diesel Dees, aka also known as Richard Lake. Welcome to the studio, Diesel, and also we are joined by our special guest. Can you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Ismael, Rosa. Hello, everyone.
Now, you and Diesel have a special relationship. You guys have known each other for a long time. Can you care to elaborate, like when you two first met?
Yes, he was a young man trying to sneak into the salsa scene and play the synth. He was playing the piano, and I figured that he could do a little better just expressing himself in the synth. Now, synthesizer is the one that adds all the little extra, the special feel to the music, and he was great at that. And so he showed it and proved it in the music.
So, Diesel, when you first met Ismael, what was your initial thoughts? Like, what was going on?
Well, at that time, I was barely playing piano. I was playing with some little. I think I was playing with TP guy. Remember?
Yes.
And there's another local Chicago band that brought up a lot of musicians, like at the high school level, young kids. What was that guy's name? It was Ruiz. Remember? Yes, at the C had a funny name. I remember his son Joe Ruiz works for the board, so I knew him. But anyway, yeah, I came up out with them, and somebody had my number.
Ruiz.
Caribe Ruiz.
Carlos Caribe Ruiz.
Yeah,
You're talking about.
Yeah, he's a South legend Chicago. That guy was. He brought
he's
a
a
lot
legend.
He was like a Tommy Olivencia. He brought up a lot of singers and players like they did in Puerto Rico.
Did you know that he was the guy that discovered me?
Really?
Yes.
So you're involved in salsa music. When did you first get involved in the scene, and when did you first were discovered, and what actually attracted you to music?
I was in music all my life. I used to watch my father, who was a minister, prepare for Sunday school, and prepare the songs and sit in the balcony and play the guitar. And I would sit on the floor of the balcony and just stare at him. I was maybe 4 or 5. One day, they brought me a guitar for the Three Kings Days. It's how that's how we celebrate in Latin America and most of Europe. We celebrate Christmas, the day that the gifts were brought to baby Jesus. Okay. So that's the day that the kids get their gifts. So on that morning, I got a guitar, and I got a couple toys too. But my brothers were outside playing with their toys, and I grabbed the guitar, and I was so ecstatic. I just grabbed it, and I started to play what throughout the years I had seen my father do. And I never knew that I could play the guitar. Nobody knew that I could play the guitar. So here's this 8-year-old boy sitting down in bed, strumming away, because my father had pre-tuned the little guitar. And I'm over there singing, and I hear my mom running, Francisco, you got to see this, in Spanish, And I didn't think anything of it, and suddenly everything went real quiet, and I'm just playing and singing, and I looked to the side, and we didn't have doors, we had curtains.
Okay.
So all of a sudden I look, and I see like 7 heads by the curtain, and everybody's looking at me, and they're all like, and I'm like, what? I'm like,
nothing unusual happening here.
As
playing
they
the
go,
guitar.
my God, who taught you how to do this? Nothing, it's like. So that night, my father asked me to. He said, we're gonna show you off at church tonight. So that night, I went to church, and I took the guitar, and he says, okay, my son is gonna play for you. Everybody thought that, oh my God, he bought him a guitar, and now he's gonna bring this kid over here to make all kinds of noise just because he's the pastor, just because he's the kid at church, So I'm like, what? I don't know. I walked up with my little tie, my little bow tie, and I walked up so strict, and I grabbed the guitar, and when I started playing, the whole church were like. And that's the same thing that happened with Carlos Caribe. I was doing a high school Latin American assembly, and the youngster that was going to sing 2 songs about Puerto Rico, he was a good a cappella singer. He had a very nice voice, but when it came to playing with the band, and we had the high school orchestra, from which I was the bass player. I was one of the bass players of the orchestra. And so with the band, he just couldn't come in at the right places, and he couldn't, he was always off of the timing and off key. And so, but when he did it by himself, he sounded great. So I pulled him over to the side, and I was trying to give him some hints of what was going on. He then tried to do it, and so I told him, listen, let's sing it. I'm going to sing it along with you, and just sing with me, and listen to what I'm saying when I want you to hear certain things of the music, and let that affiliate that with your singing. Maybe you can fall right into the groove. And so when he tried it, and I sang along with him, it was like, everybody was like, again, man, you can sing, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm the bass player. I don't come here to sing. And so now the young man is ashamed and embarrassed because I could sing. Okay. And he could sing too, but like I could sing. I was a natural. Yeah. So it ended up where I ended up doing the whole thing. And by the time we did the show, Carlos Caribe Ruiz, he was one of the producers of most of the biggest bands in the city.
Oh, he was a promoter?
He used to work for the Department of Human Resources. And he had access to a lot of the city events. And so he would take kids from the street and pull them out of gangs, pull them out of the neighborhood, and buy them an instrument and bring them over to his offices on North and Oakley, I believe it was. And I think it was 2315 West North Avenue. And he would grab these kids, teach them how to play the instruments, and put them in a band, and 6 months later you see them on stage. Well, he did the same thing with me. I wasn't a street kid. I was a preacher's kid. So I was like the hick of the crowd. I dressed like a church boy. I acted like a church boy because that's what I was. Okay. Actually, I was in Bible college already. Okay. So he wanted me to be a minister. So I'm performing at this place. Nobody knows who I am because I'm just the bass player of the band, right. the high school orchestra. And so it's 1973. We're on stage. The whole auditorium is packed. And I have about 16, 17 girls with typical dresses dancing around me. And they're moving these beauties all over, with their flowers and all these things. And I'm there dressed like the jíbaro. Okay. Jíbaro is the word that's what basically all Puerto Ricans are jíbaros. We are the Puerto Rican man was in the old days like the farmer, the caretaker of the farm, the provider. Mm-hmm. So the land of the jíbaro, the land of the farmer, right. The land of he who provides from the land.
And I never knew that.
That's what jíbaro. And in the Cuban phrase is guajiro, which is the same thing. Mm-hmm. And so we look at that and see now that hick, but it's not. It doesn't mean hick. It means country boy. Mm. It means the guy that cares for the country, the farmer, And so I'm performing. I finish singing, and all of a sudden everything goes. Everybody stands up and everybody's clapping and they're screaming, and the guy's like, that's who I'm looking for. And he was the manager for La Justicia Orchestra. La Justicia was the top band in the 70s here.
Chicago. And here in Chicago.
Here in Chicago, yes. And the lead singer had been drafted to the army. So this guy was a sonero. Now,
what does that mean?
Sonero is the type of guy that can go to any stage at any time. It's your band. You're performing on stage. And you know that I can sing. I'm a sonero. So you don't have a problem saying, come on up, and I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna sit with you, and I'm just gonna go right into the song, and you don't have to tell me anything about the song. I'm just gonna sing like I own the song.
Okay, so he
So this is the type of guy that this guy was. His name is Wito, and so Jap, who is going to perform with me in this new concert that I have coming real soon, was also one of the singers of the band. Jap is a romantic singer. His voice is suave. He's the type of guy that sung, and when he sang, girls were like, "Ooh, I like him." You know, ooh, he's so fine. Ooh, he can sing to me. You know, and so even though he was a sonero, his voice was the romantic one. Now, a sonero is the guy that's the aggressive one.
Okay.
You know,
Right.
and so kind of like the Rolling Stones.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So
You
he
see
was
what
like
I'm saying?
that, right?
Yeah. Or
Mick
not
Jagger,
too good.
he was the
Yeah.
type of guy that is an aggressive guy.
Yeah, it makes Jagger
You know, yeah. Then you got
hip hop. This guy had
exactly. You got
Yeah.
Rod Stewart. He's more of a songwriter, and he's still a heck of a rocker. But you know, the differences. One is wild, the other one is no wild, but he was more like, you know, suave.
Okay.
So I see myself on stage, and they're still clapping, and a couple of minutes went by, and so we have to wait till they stop clapping so I can sing the next song, and I go in and I do it. At the end of the show, he's saying, "That's the voice I've been looking for." He needed a sonero, someone whose
And it was your
voice
voice
was
that he
up
wanted.
front,
Yeah.
someone that the voice it has a high range and a low range, and this is where I was at, and so when they called me, nobody knew my name. I was a preacher's son. In
you
high
were-
school,
so
who
you were
knows the
unknown.
preacher's son?
No one knew who you were.
Exactly. Who knows the guy that goes to church? Nobody knows him. So, you know, they, instead of calling my name, they say, "Hey, Jibaro, Jibarito,"
Okay.
you know, and I'm dressed like the hick. I'm the guy that's dressed, you know, like the farmer. So I turn around and I look, and the girls start giggling. Oh my God, look, he answers. He's the Jibarito. And that's how I got the nickname.